Thank you, everybody, for joining episode 3 of the Phoenix Effect. We are here with Shain Tanner. He is the vice president of our local Realtor Association. Thank you, Shain, for being here and blessing us with your time and expertise today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes, my pleasure. Well, please start us off with a little bit about you, Shain, and how you got your start in real estate.
Yeah, definitely. So just a little bit about me. I recently retired from the Air Force. I served 20 years in the Air Force Reserves as well as the Guard in different capacities there. So just recently retired. Another thing, we go to Citizen Church, so we're Christians. We're strong believers. So that's a big part of our core. Also, I went to UNM. I was pre-med, so I have a BS in biology, a minor in chemistry. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm a realtor now, so things kind of choose different paths, right? So I've had a couple of different careers along the way, and all of which have gotten me here where I am today. So
All right, awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. And
yeah.
so now here's why we're here, all right? This is called the Phoenix Effect because our audience wants to know, Shain, what would happen if your business burned to the ground, you
Mhm,
lost it all? How would you rebuild it from the ashes? Okay. You get to
mhm.
keep your expertise. All right. You get to keep your knowledge. Now, on day one, what's going to be the first thing you do?
Well, honestly, I don't buy leads or anything like that. So regarding real estate, my primary focus would be to develop my SOI, which is a sphere of influence. So you develop a list of people who know you, like you, and trust you. Reach out to those people, and it's not, initially when I got into real estate, I felt like it was salesy, and it was this weight on my shoulders, feeling like it was salesy, and I hate that idea. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm really just here to try to provide value to families. And if they need it, wonderful. If they don't, that's totally okay too. So I would start with that. I would start with what am I providing value for my clients? For my SOI, I would reach out to them, nurture them, make sure they know that I care about them, and I just want to serve them. So that's how I would rebuild from the ground up if I had to.
Beautiful. So you would start with your sphere of influence, the people that you already know, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Now, as far as keeping them nurtured, what are your recommendations for people who are listening in order to keep that conversation going, right? I know a lot of people, they'll reach out the first time, Shain, but it's
Mhm.
the second and third and fourth conversations where they're like, well, they weren't interested last time. How do I keep this conversation going?
Yeah. So I found a lot that oftentimes people don't not everyone comes from the corporate world. So right before I went full-time into real estate, I worked for United Healthcare, recruiting clinicians. So it's very structured and things like that. Obviously, the military, very structured. So if you just jump into real estate and you don't have that foundation of structure, it can be very difficult. So I would say structure your processes, get your template, figure out what you're going to do and execute on those action items every week, every month, and make sure that you're checking those boxes. So if you just jump in, you don't even have any boxes to check, try to find some type of template to help you with your journey.
That's beautiful. When you have a system, when you have a template, it takes all the emotions out of it, right? You're like, here's what I have to do. Now get to
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, if you look at it like a pipeline, like I have to reach out to this many people before I can add this many people to my hot list. And then to get to this many people on my closed list, I have to have this many people on my hot list. So it's all just very process oriented. It shouldn't be like a realtor by accident. I don't know if you've heard that. There's like you're a realtor on purpose, not by accident. So
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Be intentional or on purpose, right?
yes, absolutely.
All right. So you are nurturing your sphere of influence. That you have your system. You have a template behind you.
Mhm.
What does your marketing look like? How do you get
Yeah.
word out outside of your sphere of influence? If that's something you would do.
I do, yeah. So what I do is specifically for SOI or sphere of influence, what I do is I have something that I utilize. It's called Client Giant. So you pay like 10 bucks a month, something like that, or 100 bucks a year per client, and it sends them a gift every quarter. Now, it's cool because it's low. I always like automation, things that I don't have to be directly engaged in, taking my time away from being in the field. So I love the fact that it's automated. I can add a name and they just bill me 10 bucks a month, easy per client. So that's good. But you need more than that, right? You have to attack it from multiple angles. It's like a shotgun approach because you never know precisely what's going to work and what the ROI is for every single thing. I'm not a statistician, so I don't have time to track it all down, but I know that I have at least 3 touches. So do I send an automatic newsletter every month to everybody on my SOI? Yes, I do. Do I do from your friends, which is a postcard that gives them like a valuable savings opportunity with a local business? Yes, I do. Do I do ninja notes where I send them notes just to let them know I'm thinking about them? And if their son or daughter graduated, do I let them know that congratulations, I'm really happy for you and send them a little graduation gift? Absolutely. So those are just the little things that you have to do to stay in touch. And we haven't even touched social media yet. So social media has to be huge. To me, it's the easiest way to reach out to a huge number of people, and it's relatively low effort. You don't have to do Hollywood quality video stuff. You can do low level stuff as long as there's value added. It's going to mean something to the people who are seeing it. So always add value, and then to me, shotgun approach until you you find something that works really well. But I'll probably keep shotgun approaching it and doing multiple avenues because, I don't know, it seems to hit the most number of people that way.
Yeah, keep testing, right?
Yeah.
Keep testing and seeing what's working for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So taking those things right there, number one, getting dialed in on your system and your template and what
Mhm.
you're doing on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Getting
Mhm.
tuned in on that, and then just continue to go forward
Mhm.
regardless of the results you're seeing. Do you feel that that's important as well?
Of course. You're not going to see the results right away. It's like planting seeds, right? So if you plant all those seeds with a shotgun approach, eventually you're going to be able to harvest something, and especially if it's service minded and driven in that way. But also something I did not mention. So you said, do you reach outside of your SOI? The answer is yes. So something that I do is it's very important to have strategic partners. When you're a realtor, you have to have a go-to lender that is interested in your development as well as you being interested in their development. So it
Mhm.
has to be a cooperative approach where you're both trying to lift each other up. Same thing with title, same thing with an insurance agent. So all these things have to be in place. So because of this, and it's taken years to get here, but every time I have a listing that goes active, we send 100 postcards to the neighborhood. So everyone in that neighborhood sees that it's active. When it goes under contract, everyone gets a postcard. When it's actually closed, everyone gets a postcard. So it's just that constant outreach. Now, again, your ROI is probably fairly low, but because I have strategic partnerships, it's not a gigantic financial investment for me. It's a shared investment. And I'm
Mhm.
also advertising for my lender and for my title person. So
Yeah.
it's a win-win. We're all winning here.
Yeah, I love that. It is. And the very important thing I want to point out about all of the value pieces that you're adding is that it is true value, right?
Mhm,
Everything that you're sending is either very personalized or something that they could utilize. It is something they could utilize, right? You're sending them a discount somewhere, you're sending them
mhm,
a gift, you're sending them congratulations on their family member special events.
mhm.
I mean, how many people can they say are actually they're receiving that kind of attention from in
Very
general,
true.
right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a rare thing because it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes, the commitment to doing it over and over. Because if you just have a surge of saturated effort versus consistency over time, I would take 20% consistency over time versus a week of 80% surge in saturated effort,
Boom.
personally, because the
Yeah.
consistency will build the results.
Yeah, and then you can predict, you'll know, right? You'll be
Mhm.
able to create a more predictable and sustainable business because you know with this output you will, or with this input, you'll get that output,
That's
right?
right.
And then you
Mhm.
just adjust the output to get the input to get the output you're looking for.
That's right. Mhm.
Beautiful. All right, cool. So now we know what the plan is. Okay.
Yeah.
Shane, how is this different than what you did initially? Or is it different?
Yeah, again, it kind of goes back to being a realtor on accident versus on purpose. If someone happens to go by and you can help them with one deal, then you're like, great. But here's the thing. The difference is I also had multiple jobs when I first started real estate. So
Mhm.
I was in the military, which is a part-time job. I had a full-time job with Optum or United Healthcare recruiting clinicians, and I was doing real estate on the side. plus all these other things that I
Oh,
do.
man.
So it's just, I've found that if you divide yourself, you can be good at a lot of things, but it's going to make it really hard to be great
Mm.
at anything if you divide yourself between a lot of things.
That is fantastic. Would you say that the same thing goes for working even with like a particular lead source? Your sphere of influence is different than somebody that reached out to you from one of your direct mail pieces, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if they know you, like you, and trust you, you've already begun your rapport building and you're at least somewhere in that process. If it's a totally random lead, of course, still nurture them, show them your value, but they don't know that. So you have to go even farther to show them your value and show them what you bring to the table.
Yes, invaluable until proven otherwise, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's what we're up against. Okay, cool. So now, um, what would be things that you definitely would not do this time around? Are there investments you make, choices you make? Essentially, what I want to do for our listeners here, Shane, or our viewers, is help them avoid mistakes
Yeah.
before they're 4 years down the road saying, crap, that was the wrong decision.
Yeah. So it's very tempting because people bombard realtors with advertising opportunities and things like that. I'd say if it's not something that you're into, so for me, I do advertise at one of the gyms that I go to, and it's because it's a small local community gym that I actually go to. It's not like I'm trying to blast every Planet Fitness in town with a a poster of me or something like that. Now, maybe that could get some results, but do I even go there? No. Do any of those people actually know me? Maybe, maybe not. So it's just, it's a Hail Mary. You hope it works out. So I'd say stick to the things that you're actually passionate about. So me, I love playing tennis. So I get into tennis groups and things like that. Do I advertise? I mean, not really. But if they say, "Oh, you're a realtor," I say, "Yeah, absolutely. If you need help, I'm here to help." But never salesy, right?
Mhm.
So I would just focus on the things that you actually care about. There's different ways to buy leads. I would only do that if you are potentially new and on a team and the team is providing leads. There has to be a certain structure where it makes sense, right? I would not be like, okay, I day one in real estate, I'm going to start spending 25 grand a month on leads from Zillow. I wouldn't do that because I mean, maybe some people are successful that way. I haven't seen it, but some people do have a lot of success with Zillow leads and things like that. I just don't go that route. I'm a ninja, so I just go with my SOI. The people know me, like me, and trust me. I continue to build my SOI. If I do get signed calls from those people who are kind of from the fringe and I don't actually know them, I do my very best to build that rapport and build a relationship with them so that they do become genuinely part of my SOI and I actually care about them. That's another thing. Like it's not just a paycheck. And I feel like a lot of people again get into that mindset of, hey, I've got to get a closing. We're coming from a place of desperation versus abundance. And they're like, if this falls apart, everything falls apart. People sense that. Clients can sense that. So you just have to say, look, I'm going to serve these people no matter what. If I don't make a dime, I'm still going to serve them. Because if I continue with that path, then eventually everything will work out. And I truly believe that.
That's a fantastic answer, Shane. And let me ask you this for people, especially right now with the crazy low inventory that we're seeing,
Mhm.
and especially with on the buying side, having multiple offers, high competitive, how do you what would be your advice to somebody who is feeling more in survival mode? How can
Yeah.
you cultivate a feeling of abundance when you're maybe not seeing that externally? What is your advice for somebody who's in that situation to go from where they are now to that abundance mindset?
Absolutely. So one thing that I think is often ignored and is crucial to our industry is cultivating positive relationships with other realtors.
Mm.
So if you're building rapport with your clients and you're doing that great, make sure you're already doing it and doing it successfully with other realtors, because eventually you're going to see them on the other side of a transaction. If they remember you positively and remember that you were fun and you were positive and you were good to work with, then that'll come back around. Like other realtors posts, become friends with other realtors, support them. If they have a broker open, go to their broker open. This is all just generally, playing nicely in the sandbox is what a lot of people like to say. So it's just supporting each other in our industry and trying to be good to each other. And sometimes people forget that part, so I have found it to be crucially important, especially when it comes to leadership within GAAR and just leadership in general. You have to have other people's buy-in, and you will get that if you're good to them. So if you're in that tough spot where you're like, I must close a deal, I'd say just increase the work that you're doing, increase the amount of people that you're reaching out to. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know why it's not happening. I'm like, what are you doing to make it happen? If you're not checking those boxes, it's not going to happen. It doesn't just fly in and you're like, oh, great, I have 10 deals under contract. That's not how it typically goes, so you got to put in the legwork. So,
Yeah, you got to put in the legwork. It
and be
comes,
patient,
yeah. Yeah, and I think a great question to ask is, how many opportunities did I actually have to ask for an appointment today? How many
Mhm.
opportunities did I actually have to ask for a listing appointment or a listing contract or a buyer purchase agreement, right? I
Yeah.
find there's sometimes you get to the end of the week and you could look back and think, oh my gosh, I never even tried to ask for an appointment this entire week, right? Or I
Yeah.
wasn't even in an opportunity because I was too busy doing keeping up with my current contracts, right? So
Mhm.
there's that ebb and flow. I think that happens too when we don't get into those like more appointment setting opportunities, right?
Yeah. Yeah, another thing I would add to that is like pull from social media. So if somebody just was a nurse and they became a nurse practitioner, let's say, well, there's going to be a significant increase in income. So
Mhm.
that's a life-changing event. Seek life-changing events so that you can serve people. Not so your motive matters. So
Yeah.
if it's so you can make a buck, it's not going to work. If you say, I am smart enough to know that they might have a change coming and that I might be able to serve them, that's a different approach, and you wanna lead with that approach, right?
Yes.
So if you're like, "Hey, I saw you just graduated, you got your doctorate, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and just send them a very professional market analysis." And just say, "Hey, I just wanted to I always do this for the people I care about. I know everyone wants to know what the market looks like in their area, so I wanted to go ahead and send this to you."
So easy.
Easy. Yeah. I mean, so you're not like, and if they say, "Oh my gosh, that's funny, we were just considering it," you're like, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, if you want, I can actually come over and view your house and, and actually do a thorough market analysis. Totally up to you. If it provides value to you, I'll do it. If it doesn't, no problem." So you have to roll with it.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. And you're coming from 100% value oriented, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, of
beautiful.
course. Yeah. If you're
Beautiful.
not providing value, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
backwards. It's
Mhm.
backwards. Value first. All right, Shane. So let's wrap up here with for our listeners listening right now,
Mhm.
for anybody who is new or struggling,
Mhm.
what would be the piece of actionable advice that you'd give
Mhm.
them for them to take after they get off this call? So they or get off this call after they stop
Yeah.
listening. What should they go do, Shane?
I would say first things first, what does your SOI look like? If they say, "Oh, I've been working on it, I've got like 20 names down." Okay, cool, that's a start. What I need you to do is add at least 5 names a day.
Mm,
So it starts with a name, right? So you go name, email, phone number, address, and now you actually have something you can work with.
yeah.
So, and reach out to those people. Make sure they're people that know you, like you, and trust you. If you don't know where to get the names from, who's your hairstylist, who's your mechanic, who is your flower person or whatever. I don't know, flower person, if that's the thing. But like, who's your dentist. Start adding those people, get their name, and then just start plugging away and filling in the blanks as you go. And I'd say don't look at it like this gigantic mountain that needs to be conquered in a day,
Mhm.
because it'll just be way too overwhelming. So if
Mhm.
you start simple and say, I am committed to adding at least 5 names to SOI per day, go through your Facebook. If you have friends that you haven't talked to since college or since high school, add them, reach out to them, say, hey, I wanted to send you a little note. I've been thinking about you. Is it possible to get your address? Expect nothing. That's another thing.
There you
Don't
go.
do it 5 times and be like, "I didn't even get a deal. What the heck?" No, expect nothing, and
Yeah.
if you get something, life is great,
Yes.
and if you don't, just keep going. You're planting seeds, you're providing value, everything's gonna be fine.
How how do you it's just the best piece of information, but I feel like when you hear that, you get itchy. You're like, but nothing's happening. What do you say to
Yeah.
those people?
You got to be patient. If you don't have, I think going into it, if you don't have 6 months of expenses saved, it's going to be tough. You are going to be stressed and people will see your desperation. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
You have to be ready to roll day one with 6 months in reserves so that you can pay your mortgage, you can pay your car payment, you can eat, you can pay for gas, all of those things. Do that. Yeah. So I don't know that I think people build the stress upon themselves because of lack of planning.
Ooh, that's good. All
Yeah.
right. So if they were just a little bit more prepared, they wouldn't be feeling the stress that they're feeling right now, likely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if they're doing it part-time, let's say to start, I mean, I'm sure most people have at least another job when they first start real estate. Wait until you save up 6 months.
Mhm.
Do real estate as you're saving up with your other job, right? So your plan A is gonna be real estate, but your plan B is gonna fund your cushion so that you're not stressed out.
Yeah, there you go. And then it could be even easier to come from a place of value, knowing, hey, it's okay if this doesn't happen, I'm still getting paid,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
this was an invaluable conversation, Shane. I appreciate
Well,
your
thank you.
time. I know people listening have appreciated it. If somebody has a question for you, or somebody wants to reach out and any buyer or seller that wants to work with you, is that possible? How do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, really the easiest way is I own veteranrealtor.com. So, as a veteran, I own that URL. It goes right to my link tree. You can get my email. You can send me a direct message. Anything you want is there on my link tree. So, veteranrealtor.com.
Perfect. Well, on that note, everybody have a wonderful day. And thank you again, Shane. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.